All right, thanks for everyone for joining us today. And I've got a really awesome presentation with a good friend of mine, Ryan. And even though we're in opposite parts of the world, we've had a good relationship and been colleagues for quite a long time now. And he's the absolute master at being able to utilize a group to engage your audience, build rapport, build the relationships with prospects, and actually monetizing. So I think the Facebook groups have been a really massive component for a lot of health practice owners as a way to drive other streams of income to their business, as well as being able to monetize their online-based programs. So thanks very much for joining me today, Ryan. I know it's early where you are, it's late where I am. So tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into this, and then we'll go from there.
Brad, thanks for having me, dude. It's a real honor. And it's not too early here. It's 10 past 8 a.m. and we're in the future. So if that makes a difference to anyone, it's good fun. Really cool. This is something that, we love delving deep into. There's so much to Facebook groups, but there's so much opportunity, I think, which is why we're on the call in the first place. I think seeing over the last 18 months, the super random markets and niches that people have opened groups up in and seen success in has been like a real eye-opener. And also just goes to show, people have had dog training groups, hypnotherapy groups, they're really, chalk and cheese in terms of what they're helping people with. But when it comes to coaching people or helping people in the health practice space, there's a real honest and need and appreciation for what everyone who's watching this does. And groups are a real great way to really harbor that sense of community, build relationship, whether you've got a practice, which we're going to talk about, if you've got a brick and mortar and you've got an online, whether it's hybrid, whether it's one or the other, or you're transitioning, groups we've found is the fastest way to build relationship with people that are hanging out on Facebook anyway. So why not have them in your group? So that's what I think we're going to chat about and jam on some ideas today.
Awesome. So thanks for sharing, and I'm super excited to see what you've got here. So Ryan's got a special kind of masterclass presentation for you, which is going to be packed full of value. So make sure, if you're watching this in the future, make sure that you have notes and you can start taking control over here. So, all right, Ryan, let's kick it off.
Let's do it. All right. So we're going to talk about, obviously, Facebook groups for health practitioners, which are you guys. And I guess to give you a quick glimpse, I'm going to move pretty quickly. If you're, people are going to be watching the replay, you can pause, you can speed it up or slow it down, however you need. But for the sake of this, let's go as fast as we possibly can. A quick glimpse into sort of how we make groups work. There are sort of 3 key components to any successful and profitable group. The whole goal of groups for what we help our clients with is to make a profit. And the best way that comes about is when we get to help our clientele, either one-on-one, through an online program, etc. To get to that stage of a profitable group, first we need to set things in place to grow the group, to get our ideal customers into the group, our people that are visiting our practices. Okay, I'm going to try and speak as much health practitioner talk as I can, even though I'm not in the space. So forgive me for anything that I butcher. We need to learn how to engage those members. Okay, so if you're used to face-to-face connection, we need to transpose that into an online setting to have people talking, asking, sharing, etc. And that's what builds community. Third and finally, we look to the pieces where how do we monetize our community? How do we offer programs in a way that have our members saying, yep, I want to take that up, and do that with seamless, process or systems, whether your team are doing that, whether you're on there, etc. So that's a quick overview that we want to work towards. There are sort of 9 pieces to the puzzle. I'm not going to go into all of those today, but we're going to work and zoom in on a couple individually, and Brad, we can just jam out and talk how that looks practically for all of your team. Okay, so let's get into it. When it comes to having a group, a real key piece is the algorithm and the engagement that it gets. If you're in any groups and you've seen, this dictatorship where it's the leader posting and no one else responding or commenting or asking anything, that's a real, a red flag for us when we're looking at groups. So we want to create a community where it's equal share, ask, give type arrangement. So this is a real key, and I'd love everyone watching the replay to write this down. This goes for anything, anywhere on Facebook. Comments are the currency of Facebook. If we can learn to gain comments in our posts, in our dialogue, on our live videos, if we're teaching, if we're sharing something valuable, if we're asking from our community as to who's interested in something, comments are going to really be the key for us in that regard. And, you know, to give you an example, these are people within our program. Brad, you should be on this as well because you're a master at generating comments and getting conversation going. And we know that conversation leads to people signing up with us, working with us, opening conversations or hopping on a call, etc. So, you know, different types of posts, people will scroll past and simply look at the amount of comments before they actually read the post. That's the way social proof works today. The way the Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg have primed all of us is to skim past the meaty content and just see, you know, is this worth my time to stop and engage? So we need to sort of step back from the position of, oh, my stuff is really valuable. This piece of health advice is really valuable, and work out first by reverse engineering what's going to engage comments before them actually stopping and reading the post. Okay, so you can see here lots of comments, and these are quite just fun questions. Now, the reason why I'm sharing fun questions with you is that any one of these, they all happen to be amazing women in our program have shared. We've got plenty of guys in there as well, but each one of them, every time somebody comments on one of these posts in Facebook, the way the feed works is if you make a post up here, if it doesn't get comments, it starts to work its way down to the bottom. However, every time you get a new comment, it will bump that up to the top. So if you think about Deb here, she's got 330 comments. Every time someone comments on that post, her name gets put back up in lights and more people are seeing her. Why is that important? Brad, as a health practitioner, would it be important in a sea of other health practitioners to be continually in the forefront of your audience's mind?
Super, super important. Free advertising too.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. So how else might that play out? Free advertising. What else might be some outcomes?
Get conversations started and get people, you know, moving towards taking action towards whatever, you know, service or thing you're offering.
Yeah. Epic. Often when I log in, I see your name at the top of my feed somewhere, or, you know, you're either posted something, you're in my comments, you know, it's the way of the algorithm. And this stuff might seem just trivial, but if we get to understand the way that Facebook's works and the way that they've designed it, and we utilize that, it's free advertising, and we can really harness the power of getting our name top of mind and front of line for all of our prospects and audiences. So if we talk about a simple algorithm hack in regards to, we've posted a piece of content online and we think, hey, maybe we've posted on our profile, within our group, on our business page, okay, which has the lowest reach of all. If any of your health team, you know, have business pages, Facebook really squashed that and you have to put money in to actually gain any sort of reach. This is a strategy which will help you get that message, that piece of content out to the world. Okay, so when you make a post online, in your group, on your profile, initially, if it's written well, if it's engaged someone, the comments and the reach is going to grow. Okay, it might grow depending on your community size or your friends list, a couple of comments, maybe in the teens, maybe it's more. At some point, it's going to take a turn and begin to slow down. All right, so at some point, it will begin to slow. This is the point we just need to be aware of. Okay, the post has sort of reached its maximum, it's gone over the hill, and now we need to start manufacturing engagement to get that back up to the top, remember, of the newsfeed. And we can do this over and over again so our pieces of content continually get seen by our audience. If everybody just stops and thinks of someone on Facebook that they always see at the top of their newsfeed with like hundreds of comments, this is what they're doing to make that happen. Okay, so when your post starts to naturally slow, which it will, this is where we need to reply in question to those people who have left you a comment. Brad, good example of this might be if you've commented on or I've commented on, let's play it your way. If I've commented on your post and said, awesome, I'm looking to be healthier, what would be a simple response you could drop back to me?
Yeah, leaving like having a question, acknowledging them, and just saying something like, what are you working on right now? Or what's your progress?
Perfect.
Like something open-ended, right?
Totally. So immediately we've gone from, say, RB's comment over here for one, Brad's come back with comment number 2 and a question, and then it makes me have to come back with a third comment. So and immediately we've tripled the amount of comments on the post. Okay. And it keeps that post alive. I can't remember who it is, but when you ask someone a question, it opens a feedback loop in their brain that they can't close until they answer that question. So it's this reciprocity that if we ask questions, people will come back and comment. It's going to do us the world of good, keep us at the top of the newsfeed, free advertising, and our posts will grow and grow and grow. Our message will hit more people for free, and more people will start to come and find us, hear about us, or essentially, if they're in your group, your engagement will expand continually. Brad, is there anything there that you feel needs to be added to or that I've missed?
No, I think it's really good. And I think that this, even to point out, is not necessarily just in a group, but you could use this on your personal profile as well.
Totally.
So, if you're posting comments about programs that you have or services or exercise videos or anything that you're doing or treatment videos or whatever, you want to get engagement both in your group and personal profile. So it's really important to be able to use these concepts for both.
The other thing you can use it in is other groups. Now, depending how close you want to get to, whether it's competition or maybe it's not competition, maybe it is just a general health group, you can totally use these styles of engagement by just simply asking questions back to people. Maybe you've posted a bunch of value in someone's group, and then people will start to see your name at the top of that group as an authority figure, come to your profile, maybe they'll add you as a friend, and you're one step closer to a hot lead joining your program. So really cool there. Do you think there'd be anything specific? I mean, people posting on their profiles in regards to programs, would there be anything else that you see in your industry that could be useful?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is getting traction and having people really just seeing. Oh, I know a lot of people are spending a lot of time creating content, but we want to make sure that we're getting that content in front of as many people as possible. So using the business page less, starting to transform and use the groups a bit more to build community, as well as your personal page. So kind of transforming, if you're creating this content, getting in front of as many people as possible, I think it's a super, super important aspect.
Yeah, perfect. And I think that's a really good distinguished point is that, pages versus groups, and I don't have it, set here, but we can talk about it, versus your group, is that, I mentioned it, that on your page, you're going to have to put dollars in that machine. That's what Facebook created, so that people see your stuff. So it's pay to play, whereas group is all organic. Okay, so they're trialing ads within groups. However, if you can master this engagement piece within your group and you've got people in there, it's once again free. Okay, so if you learn this algorithm hack, it's going to serve you like time and time again. So yeah, really, really cool. Let's keep moving. And that stuff takes practice as well. Just trial it, on your next post that goes out there. Just come back to someone's comment that says, awesome job. You say, fantastic. Like Brad said, what are you working on right now? Or like, what does this mean to you? Or have you ever had this experience? Or when was the last time you were at, this beautiful place if you've posted a photo? Or when were you at this state when your body was healthy, etc. Okay. Just fun little questions. In terms of that content, let's talk about becoming a beast at content creation. And this is something, Brad, I'm assuming that you would have felt before as well as I have, as well as everyone watching this, is the content overwhelm that comes with all of the social medias today.
Yeah, for sure. That and it really being contextual to moving someone along the right way. And I would say jam or flow, like they should be, we want people to flow towards you, not get into a traffic jam and not be able to take the next step.
Yeah, totally. So our customer journey, what's that look like from someone who's got no idea who you are to them going, I love everything that I hear come out of this person's mouth or that I see online, and I just want to know more about their program, their practice, their service, etc. So let's just talk about that. And Brad, this is you've been through this with me. Let's have a bit. I assume you have. Let's have a bit of fun with some of the content that we can create within a group. But then again, this is contextual. You can send this out via email. You can look at this content through your Instagram, through your page, LinkedIn. You can put all of the social medias through this lens of 4 individual themes to bring about really valuable and satisfying content that takes your customer on a journey from not knowing you to knowing exactly who you are and wanting to be a part of your thing. All right. So the first piece in this puzzle is value. Brad, if I ask you the question, what would be some steps or some, really bitey, practical pieces of content that people might use in their group as a health practitioner?
Yeah, I mean, often you'll see, depends on the practice, but you'll get like exercises or stretches that someone could do to get immediate pain relief or to start feeling better, more energy, sleep better, those types of things.
Yeah, so you might film a training, do a live video. You might do send a guide out to people. Okay, so you could do all of those formats: live video, guide. It might even just be on a podcast that you're sharing that type of training. Yeah, cool. What else might be some different pieces of value that can be dropped within a group?
I think for those who are starting to do online-based stuff, being able to give portions of that program, whatever that might be, or things that, like we kind of talked a little bit about, reports. So I'm a huge component that I teach people, hey, if we're doing a report or we're doing a 5-day kind of mini series on, getting more mobile and overcoming back pain from the comfort of your home, we're able to do something that's going to be able to kind of bridge that gap and giving one component to having someone get a quick win and making that content contextual for them.
Super cool. So it could be, a 5-day challenge or whatever the day challenge is. It could be the introduction to your program. You give that away and introduce people to you and your teaching style. It could be, top strategies. There could be, just lead magnets that deliver the value for you. Okay, there's a bunch of stuff there. It could be cheat sheets, Q&As. You can have other guests or colleagues come into the group to speak on certain topics. Tons of value that you can provide for free. It could just simply be book recommendations. That's really massive. People love a good book recommendation as well. Something that people in your group go, wow, this is valuable being in here. I don't want to miss, any sort of snippet or topic that comes up in here because, this is free. I'm receiving this value for free. That's what you as the authority are leading from. And they're on the other side going, this is too good to be true. Okay. So that's what we're focusing on when it comes to the value portion. Things within your group or on your profile that lead people to more trust, more authority with you. Okay. Understanding that. If we jump over to the right side, we want to create posts in there that I call share posts. And these are topics that are simply questions asking your members about the one thing that they love talking about most. Brad, what's the one thing I know that all of your community, my community, the world love talking about more than anything else?
Themselves and the wins and the things that they've got. And that's
exactly
big portion.
Yeah, so this is all about themselves. There is a time for us to share stuff about us and what we know and our expertise, but equally as important, it needs to be about them. What's important to them. So you've already shared some of the things there. What wins have you had? What are some of the other things that would just be simple questions to ask about health practitioners or people in their markets?
Yeah, so I mean, sharing like wins of how people have had good results and not always like had crazy life-changing results, but certain things that they feel proud of to really make them speak to the success that they had and get other people excited and sharing their, their side of it. So I always talk a lot about when we're talking about testimonials or reviews, like it's the power in having other people talk about their experiences instead of just hearing from us all the time.
For sure. Another lens that you can flip is, were you a Seinfeld fan?
Not particularly, but I watched it. My parents did, but.
Sure. Okay. So we also like to play on this idea that these are Seinfeld questions, questions that just get people talking. Sometimes it's about nothing. It doesn't have to be industry specific. It might be, hey, what did you get up to on the weekend that was good for you? A question that still gets them talking about themselves and what they were doing that they're proud of, or, where were you, 5 years ago in your health journey, where are you now? They're still proud about that. They want to talk about those things. So all of these questions in here are about them. And it's a chance for them to either brag, to share, to have a bit of fun. Okay. There shouldn't be anything in here that's too painful or transparent, too honest or vulnerable. We'll save that for the next point. Okay. So that's when we're talking about getting our members to share about themselves. When we drop below the line, this is where we start to get into finding out more of our customers' needs and wants and their pain points. And so this third section here is actually the pain styled questions. So in the sales process, if you've been in sales for any length of time, you'll realize that we're just trying to realize where our customer is and where they want to be, or our prospect. Okay, so we're just trying to figure out where are they on that journey? Can we help them with that? And if we're a right fit, then perfect. Let's see how we can work together. So that's what we're trying to work out in these questions. I mentioned it just a second ago. You might say to someone, this question might be posted up within your group that says, when were you the fittest and healthiest in your life, and where are you now? Because most people have reached some sort of peak spot in their life and then come down from that at some point. Would that be correct in assuming that, Brad?
Yeah, sometimes that can happen. I mean, a lot of time you'll find, especially if you're dealing with, people 40 plus, they'll go back to the times of when they were more active and had more energy. And now it's like, stuff hurts and doesn't work quite as well as it did before.
Yeah, totally. And so if we find that people aren't where they once were, or their dream state, or that memory of that photo that they had of their body or their health, etc., it's an opportunity for us to go, okay, cool. Would you like help getting back to that place, or improving from where you are currently? So these pain style questions are just finding out where they are currently and where they would like to be. The question might be as simple as, where would you like to be this time next year in your health journey, in your fitness journey, okay, in your mindset, whatever the thing is. Can you think of any other questions there that would separate that gap?
Yeah, I think they're really important questions to understand where people are right now and what they want to do. So I like to ask people a lot in my consultations of actually with a prospective patient. And I really ask them the question with hey, where are you right now, and what's life going to be like if you don't make any changes, and what will life be like if you do? So kind of touching a bit on that pain, but also, directing them and future pacing to getting them to focus on, hey, my life could be better if I make a change, and these are the things that I need to do. And I think that does move people in the right direction sometimes too.
Yeah, exactly. And these sorts of questions in a public setting, you remember these are going to be posted within your group. I wouldn't post these too much publicly. This is something that, your members have built trust with your member up here, and now they're much more vulnerable to answer a question like this. So, if it were, business money related, it'd be like, how much are you earning now? Where would you like to be in 5 years' time? Getting people just to realize where their actual goal is. If you're in real estate, just to give you some examples, what is your, current home like, and what's your dream home like? And if we can find out what the expected goal is, we can start to see, hey, would you like some help with that, getting to that place? And if that's a yes, it's cool. The next step is, would you be happy to have a chat about how we can make that happen? Okay, so we're getting towards, generating leads. How do we introduce those conversations? And that all comes from creating some sense of pain or awareness around the unsatisfaction as to where your audience is right now. Is there anything else there you think we should cover off on in the pain segment?
I think that's pretty good. And one thing I would add too is it's a good way to be able to also get feedback from people on what they're thinking. You'll often get, they're going to be more vulnerable in these positions, but the people who do respond are going to tell you exactly in their words what they're saying. So if you've got a patient who's dealing with hey, I've had back pain forever and I've seen another physio and I really just want to understand how do I get out of the pain, or how do I lose weight, and I've tried these diets and everything else doesn't work, and what do I need to do nutrition wise or elimination diets, like whatever that is, it actually gives you a
Totally.
mechanism that I find really valuable.
Yeah, super cool. And remember, all we're doing in this process right now is just gathering different forms of questions, posts, etc. Remember, we're talking about content. So when it comes to the next step of planning out your content, okay, you're going to have a wide variety of different pieces of the puzzle to plug in. When we look at the final quadrant, this is the lead section that everyone wants to hear about. How do I generate the leads? What sort of things are going to get people moving towards working with us and having that conversation? So Brad, have a think about, as I just chat through some of this stuff here, what would be some specific ways or events that some of your members might do this? For different industries that we've worked in, it might be pre-COVID or post-COVID times where you did physical workshops, right? Where you had people out to showcase something, to teach, to have people in a room, workshops, seminars, etc. Now we do that online with Zoom calls. I'm not sure. Are you guys open to meet or allowed to meet yet, like in groups?
Yeah. So like some of us, I'm a huge advocate for doing workshops, and I've done it that way. And with COVID, we're actually finding that a lot of practitioners are able to actually reach more people with being able to do stuff as kind of like a webinar. So taking a workshop and just doing it live and like as our other colleague says, the webinar doesn't matter. It's more the people raise their hand and want help, right?
Totally. And so if you think about it, you've got a group, they've been gaining value from you, they've been talking about themselves and feeling like they've contributed, they're being heard, you've stretched a bit of the gap. When it comes time to invite them onto a training as to a Zoom call, okay, which would have been your in-person workshop or seminar, etc. Now you've got something where you're like, people are willing to jump on that because they trust you, they're understanding that you've offered value, and they're going to jump on that workshop with you. So that's a huge way then to present what you're offering and invite them to work with you further. A bunch of other ways that you might do that is by, you may create, regular type of lead magnets, which offer certain things and then ask if they want more information at the back end of that. We've talked about offering, free bits of your course or your program out to people and then following up with them. If you got a module that says, get healthy in 5 steps and I'm going to give you the first step for free, who wants that? And you've got 10 people that all comment, I do. Send them the message, give them that piece of training, and then follow up with them. How did you find that? What did you learn? What are you wanting more of? And would you like the full training or hear about those details? You might have guests in that come and teach on a topic and then leave an open loop to say, would you like to hear more about this thing? Drop us a comment saying yes, and we'll reach out to you and give you those full details. Brad, what else here do you see within your industry that is a great way of generating leads?
Yeah, just even the old school way of just getting on a call with someone and kind of telling them like, hey, I can solve your problem. Let's set up an appointment, meet in the clinic, or maybe talk about doing some remote-based virtual therapy, which is becoming more popular now. Just something as simple as that. So, I think it's good to be able to outline, there's multiple different ways to do leads. And also give the idea that, hey, we got to mix these things up between value and shares and pain and everything else. So people just want to be pitched to all the time, so to speak.
Totally. Yeah. So when we've started to fill out this diagram, this model a bit here, and what you start to find is above the line, this is all stuff that is fun, it's valuable, it's sharing, there's no sort of pain involved or ask. Okay. When we get below the line, that's where we start to realize, okay, there's opportunity here that we're asking from our group and that we're leading them to a place, obviously, that we're trying to help better their lives. And that obviously is most of the time working with us in some capacity. So when it comes time to factor in, how do I work all of these themes into my group? You simply just want to start to work through these in an even process and spread them out between your group. Equal portion value, equal portion share, equal portion pain points and questions, equal portion lead generation and asking people for a conversation. And when we do it right, that's when we end up with a really holistic, content based approach covering 4 themes that are leading people from, cold relationship with you to super hot, wanting to jump into your program. Anything else you'd like to add there?
No, I love it.
My man?
Great to give
Cool.
people the 30,000 foot view and being able to understand it.
Yeah, epic. We won't go through it on this call, but I'll leave this, this PDF with you guys so that now that you've got, there's already like, I don't know, 15, 20 things right there on paper. We just want to start scheduling those in, break it down. What does that look like on a daily basis, a weekly basis? How often are we doing some of these posts? If we're, we love the camera and we want to go live, how often are we going live? If we're having guests in the group, is that weekly? Is it a monthly thing? If we're going to have webinars and workshops, is that monthly? Is it bi-monthly? What's the cadence and run rate? So all you need to do from this point here is start to go, all right, lead magnets, we might offer up daily within the group. Probably wouldn't recommend that. Let's go, lead magnets you might do as a weekly thing. Hey, did you guys remember to get the checklist that everyone in our group gets? Free course you might do monthly. Like, hey, this is my program. Who would like the free course? You might offer that once a month. Calls, you might do that daily. There's an opportunity to jump on a call with me. So you just want to schedule the things that you've now worked out into a cadence, get that set, and then assess it after a month. What worked, what didn't, let's go again. How does that sound?
Love it.
Yeah, epic. So that's talking about the content side of things, reducing the overwhelm, getting that 30,000 foot view, and then starting to break it down nice and simply, and then assessing after a month. What's worked, what hasn't, what did we like, what didn't feel right, and then moving forward from there. You start to get a nice rhythm based over your quarter and your year. Whew, time out. Dude, what's been something that you think 1 or 2 key takeaways for some of your crew based on what we've covered?
I think it's awesome, and I always like to get the layouts again of just the actual taking the more strategic standpoint behind doing something and being able to get the most out of it. So if we're putting in time for content, we might as well get people seeing it and engaging with it and potential opportunities, because ultimately at the end of the day, we're trying to grow a business and trying to get patients or clients into our world. And the more people that see it, the more conversations that we have, the easier it is for you to have success, whether it's online or in person or whatever you're trying to do with your health practice. Get the most bang for your buck.
Exactly. So we've just covered off on all right, we've looked at content, and previously before that, I wanted to show you the algorithm. Remember, making sure that whatever content you're now posting, people are seeing more of that, responding to it, and the social proof is gaining, because that's going to help you. Now let's drill down into gaining leads. Okay, let's make it rain leads. And I want to just start with a really simple method here for people coming across your group and joining it for the first time. And I'm a big believer in this statement here. Many people have heard it. Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach him how to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. Brad, you know who that's by? I don't know who said that. So
no, you can take you can put your name on that one.
No, to me, it's anonymous. I've got no idea. So that's what we want to do here. If we set this next portion up right, which I call the entry opportunity, it will bring you leads as people come and join your group on the front end. Okay, so it's pretty exciting. This is what I call the entry opportunity. When people come and join your group, they've got 3 potential questions that you can set up to be pre-vetted as to whether they're a qualified person for your group or for your program, etc. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3 here. We want to ask those questions in a specific way that gets people with fingers on keyboards or on their phone and answering them, that gives us either an idea as to whether we should continue a conversation or whether they should be in our group or whether they are not fit for our group. Okay, so working through these from top to bottom, the first question, the purpose of it is simply to qualify and engage whoever that prospect is coming across your group. Now, we do that by asking a simple no-brainer question. Okay, simple no-brainer. This should be a question that they can answer in their sleep It doesn't need to be too difficult, but just gets them qualified and engaged. So Brad, have you got an example of something that maybe one of your crew would put as their first question?
Yeah, usually it's like something like what is the main issue that you're struggling with right now? And that might be like back pain, or it might be hormonal health, it might be sleep, something along those lines.
Cool. So if you specialize in, back pain, muscular, whatever, or sleep, etc., you might actually drill down even a step further and say, if it's about back pain, for example, and that's what your group's about, it's like, have you experienced back pain in the last 12 months? Yes or no?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. If we can add a yes or no option, sometimes we can't, but if we can add yes or no, it makes things really simple. And if that's all they have to answer, they feel like their job's done. They're ready for the second question. That's all we want from them here. Okay, so if you can get specific, to give you an example, when you join our group, it's like, have you got a group or are you looking to launch one? Really simple. It's not yes or no, but they know the answer to that and they don't need to give me their life story. So that's question number one. Let's look at question number two, which is our opportunity for them to raise their hand. So that's the purpose of this question. And from here, this is where we get to actually preface our program or our course and set that up with a pre-frame with a testimonial. So this is an opportunity to work with us. And to give you an example of what ours sounds like, it's testimonial first of an amazing client, followed by, would you like those same details? So that's something like, hey, James just, sailed to 37 grand in his first 2 months working with us. Would you like the same program details he took part in? Yes or no? So once again, simple yes or no question. Really simple for them to answer. Do they want to alleviate back pain? Do they want to get 3 hours more sleep back? Whatever the result is that you provide, pre-frame that with a customer or testimonial that's had that result, and then ask them if they would like the same details. Is that making sense to you, my man?
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, cool. Third and final question is a chance for us to build our list, our database. Okay, so the purpose of this is to gain email address. Some people will, look to gain a cell number depending on, the rapport that you've got with your audience outside. Some people just, are happy to give out their mobile number. So I tend to go with email, build the list and build our email database, and then that can feed back into Facebook ads and a whole bunch of other things. What we want to do with this question is frame it again correctly so that they're much more likely to give us their email. By making this a prerequisite for joining, most people just give away spammy emails that are just fake unless there's value in there. So we want to lead with our lead magnet. What have you got that is super hot and tantalizing that people would just love to get in their hands? Okay, so that might be, some of the things we talked about, training, might be checklist, etc., etc. Lead with that first. Hey, would you like my 5 steps to better sleep in 48 hours? If so, drop your email address and I'll send it over. Okay, so let's lead with lead magnet first and then email question second. So not bad example would be, hey, drop your email and I'll send you this. It's like, hey, would you like this awesome thing? Drop your email and I'll send it over. Any thoughts, comments, questions there, Brad?
No, super important. I think there's a lot of people who don't utilize the questions at all, or don't maximize the opportunity to, one, collect the contact information, but two, to also understand a little bit more about what they're wanting, so that you can actually start that conversation and say, hey, let's have a chat. Maybe I can help you.
Yeah, exactly. This question alone here of people saying yes to hearing about our program, what we deliver, for us, has a 93% yes rate of everyone that joins our group. So that's just someone just saying, yes, I would like to hear about that thing. And it enables us to send them a message, start the conversation and see if we can work together. Okay, now this is on the front end of someone joining a group. Leads organically. It's amazing. So I highly recommend you play with that question number 2. And the third and final part that we want to work on with these questions is, are they required to answer them or not? We set it up so that they're required to answer number 1, required to answer number 2. And then we just set number 3 up as though it's just super valuable, but you don't have to take that up. Now, when we say required, that could be a yes, but it also could be a no answer. And same with here. They might not want to hear about our program details, and that's fine. We just require that they answer the question. Does that make sense?
100%.
Yeah, cool. So we just say, hey, all 3 questions, are required. You don't have to say yes or no to any of the things. We just require that you answer them. If they do all that and they're the right person, they get a tick, they get approved to the group. Cool?
Yeah.
So final thing that I'd add here is that for us and our business model, 33% of our sales come from people answering yes to that question, having a conversation with us, finding that they want to jump in, and sold via Messenger. Okay, so for all of your team watching this, if that encourages you to get this set up immediately, please do. And let me or Brad know, the results that come back from just this simple setup alone. Let's finally just talk about the last thing I want to cover is the secret party invite. How do we get people in other ways, wanting to jump on our webinars, watch trainings that we filmed, sign up things, receive lead magnets. So I call this the secret party invite. The purpose of it is to create curiosity, social proof, and get people taking action, fingers on keyboards, asking for the thing that you've got. So dude, let's just play a real quick game of Where's Wally, or Spot the Difference, or actually spot the similarities. What do you see within these posts that are just, formatted and look the same? What can you see? What can you notice?
Well, it's really getting someone to engage and to comment and take a specific action, right?
Yep. So, specific action. What else? So call to action.
Building a bit of curiosity and,
curiosity
to opt in to wanting to raise their hand.
What can you see visually about these posts?
They just stand out because you've got a plain background, your question and asking specific things in there. It just stands out.
Question specific. Yeah, epic. A couple of other things there are each post has got emojis in it. Emojis, Facebook did a study, is proven to increase people reading and taking action on a post and stopping them as they scroll. There's a formatting thing going on here. So it's statement or pitch or result or idea up top with the call to action very specifically separated down below. So it's nice and easy to see. Brad, you already mentioned it, using these background style posts. They're not too long. People know that, hey, I can read this in a second, see if it's for me or not. You can tell that already there's engagement on these posts. Some of these things are really simple. If you get them right, you end up with tons and tons of people wanting the thing that you've got to offer in a really soft, simple way. Doesn't feel pushy, and then you're able to deliver on that and open more conversations on the back end. So to give you an example, just filmed a training on making your group brain leads, sending out now, who wants it? Brad says yes. I say, cool, Brad, can I shoot you it via message? He says yes. I shoot it over. Once again, we're now in a chat that I can say, hey, how'd you go with that training? Did you implement it? Would you like more help with this? Okay. In a health sense, it's hey, would you like my single greatest tip for finding peace and pain-free stress, within your body? Yep, cool, here it is. Boom. Did you implement it? Fantastic. Would you like more help with it? Cool. Let's talk about that. Okay. Let's talk about how the secret party invite works as a model. We've talked about a couple of those things there. There are 3 pieces to this. You want a nice background color, really simple to read. Usually white text works best. However, something nice and simple like this works as well. You don't want to fill those backgrounds up with smiley faces and all the other joys that they give us. Nice and simple works best. We want to use emojis, just like we text our mum, our spouse, whoever. We use emojis in text. Let's use them on posts as well. And then we want to format it with some form of claim up top and separated by a line with call to action below. That's how we want these to look in terms of format. When it comes to the second step is we want to actually tease people with what is to come. So this might be the thing that we're offering. Is it training? Is it a lead magnet? Essentially, we want to ask and then give. Okay, ask people, do they want the thing? Then give it. All we're doing here is creating desire about the thing. Okay, curiosity about the thing. You know, is it a YouTube video? Like if they're not subscribed to your YouTube channel, they probably haven't seen it, but you still ask if they want it and then send them to the YouTube channel. Okay, as opposed to the old school, everybody does it way of like, hey, I posted a new YouTube video, here's the link, and nobody clicks on it because they haven't had any sort of desire for that video. The third and final thing, we've looked at format, party tease, is the party invite. All right, this is where we jump in the comments and we say, hey, would you be cool if I DM you the thing? They say yes. And we say, cool, did you get it? Now we've got 3 comments, social proof building, which we've talked about, and our post continues to grow. People keep seeing others wanting it and they want in on it too. It's the way our human psyche works. Cool. Yeah. So if we do these things right, we'll start to grow posts with lots of comments, with people wanting the thing that we've got, and opening chats leading to conversations where we can either help people or direct them in the right path. Well, time out. I've been talking now continuously for a minute. So, dude, that's what I wanted to present. Let me know thoughts, questions around what we've just covered, and we can rock and roll this.
Yeah, I think it's super awesome, and I really appreciate you coming on and sharing all of this, awesome, valuable content, because I get a lot of questions about how to create content, how to get people to actually take action, or people are just simply doing a lot of work, but they're not really getting anything from it, or they're launching an online program and they're not really sure how to get engagement or how to manage it. So you definitely have laid out a lot of value for people to take it either for their online-based therapy practice or brick and mortar, or a combination of both. So it's super, super awesome.
Awesome, dude. Is there any question that you wish I had have answered that I haven't just yet?
I think it's pretty good, man. You gave us a lot of value. Cool. So one thing I think will probably be important, and some people will have questions on, is like, if they want to learn more about being able to take these principles and go to the next step, where can they best find you? Yeah,
well, I guess the thing we've been talking about, Facebook and our group. Thank you for having me. This is probably the best place just to come and hang out. My group's called Facebook Group Secrets, and in it we'll expand on some of the topics we've chatted about today, a bunch of other things that come up on Facebook that are super helpful in ways to grow, engage, and monetize your group. Come add me as a friend, join my group, and come say g'day, as we do down here in Oz.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for popping on. And I know that everyone's going to get a lot of value. So I strongly encourage you to reach out to Ryan. He's been a vast amount of knowledge and helped me with a lot of stuff with my groups and just engagement and so on in general. So awesome guy.
Welcome, dude. Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks. All right.